Okay. Wow, I can fucking see. Amen. Amen. Wowie, wow, wow, wow. So, this, like I was saying, is Kat Von D's original post talking about the situation of what happened between Jeffree and BJ Betts. Now, let's get into this. Now, this is some old stuff, but it'll kind of set the scene.
Hey guys, it's Kat over here. I just want to post this video regarding what I posted earlier about Jeffree Star and my recent decision to distance myself, actually to disassociate myself completely from him and his makeup line altogether. And I think that it comes off very harsh, and I can understand why.
God, bitch, I know this is the early 2000s, but fucking speak up. Was she talking into a potato? Because the audio doesn't exist.
There would be a reaction not just from my own fans, but from Jeffree's fans as well. And in no way is this video or my post meant to bash anybody. I'm just simply stating the truth. I'm stating the facts, and I think it's important for me that my fans and followers know where I stand with this, because uh, the way that Jeffree chooses to live his life and treat other people is not something that I personally agree with. So,
which is really, like, I think it's really funny, like, listening to a lot of this now for when you guys will hear what the recent controversy is coming up with Kat specifically, because it's just, I mean, there's no other word for it other than just straight ironic.
being associated with somebody who does do the things that he does, it really makes me nervous, because I don't want my fans or followers to think that that's a good example of how we should be with each other and how we should treat, our the people who are in our lives or surrounding us. And I've been firsthand witness to a lot of things, which I know you guys already know. I mean, just the way he treats not only his fans, but just brands. And I think anybody that even intimidates him slightly, it's like a very easy trigger for him to just attack. I remember, seeing him go off on this rant and really commanding his followers to start attacking this other really much smaller brand who made lip glosses, not even lipsticks.
I'll be real. That was just kind of the industry back in the day. Y'all remember the whole like Dramageddon with the whole makeup industry thing? Excuse me, the OG one. Not the second time. I'm talking about the OG one that happened. That Loki was just Tati Beauty upset that James Charles promoted Sugar Bear hair instead of her hair vitamins. Like, to be real, the industry was just kind of catty and petty back then. If they could shit on another brand to lift theirs up, like, okay, so the beauty industry, like, for example, like when Jeffree first started, he specialized specifically in liquid lipsticks, and his like eyeshadow palettes were like the thing. He later like branched the brand into, like, for example, his Supreme Frost highlighters were like one of the most popular items. But to make Supreme Frost be such a popular highlighter, he had to start reviewing a bunch of highlighters, shitting on those highlighters, and then uplifting his. And that's just what a lot of the beauty reviewers did. Whether they did it in an obvious way like Jeffree did, or they did it in a subtle way like Tati Beauty did. Like, they all in one way or another like would have these brands that either paid them to promote or their own brands that they would like use as almost like, this is the product that's like my staple. This is the product that's like my everyday wear. So whenever I compare a highlighter, I'm comparing it to this. So you're automatically going to think, okay, well, I'm going to want to get that staple wear highlighter because it's always better or just like casually good compared to some like other shit. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sort of sense. The beauty makeup YouTube industry was a hell of a time to be like, to be so for real. Chanton Yan said, for real reasons, not the stupid Sugar Bear hair thing. People need to shit on James more. He should have never gotten to become as big as he is. Well, she did eventually shit on James Moore for stuff, but the problem is that like it came out through the whole Sugar Bear hair controversy, so it kind of just got like pushed under the rug until Dramageddon 2 happened. All right, now let's keep rolling.
because of some human error in labeling. I remember I think like the brand had accidentally labeled something with carmine, and they had claimed to be vegan, and he just went off on this brand. How the injustice.
Can I be real? That's a big issue. If you claim to be a vegan brand, you don't accidentally put carmine in your product. He should have blasted that tiny little lip gloss brand. Holy shit, I'm stumbling over my words today too. It's a hell of a day. But as somebody who's always consumed specifically products like that do not test on animals, and specifically like I try, like, there's certain makeup products, I'm allergic to stuff, right? There's one specific ingredient that's in, like, 90% of makeup products that I am allergic to that gives me, like, bad rashes on my face, so I had to stop using it. And can you imagine, for me, okay, if they list that this is not in their product, they don't put that as one of the ingredients in their product, and then I use it, and then I have an allergic reaction, like, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. He should fucking call that out. Abso-fucking-lutely, especially for people that are literally vegan, that do not ever consume animal products, and you're putting crushed beetles, because that's what that is, into the makeup. Like, that's crazy. Like, he should blast them. It doesn't matter how small of a brand they are. That should never even have landed on the shelf without having that listed as one of the ingredients. It's absolutely sick.
Justice of that human error that was completely forgivable. And I remember thinking, wait, you're not even fucking vegan. I mean, I know you like to put that word onto your packaging so that you can, like, bring in the vegan bucks, but, like, you totally eat animal products, and not only.
And to bring in the vegan bucks, because his products actually are vegan. Like, that is something to support. Whether he's vegan himself or not, yeah, clearly not. I mean, he's somebody who has a literal store called Makeup and Meat where he sells meat products. But having a vegan makeup line isn't a problem, especially because a lot of people don't want crushed beetles in their makeup or, like, bat guano in their makeup. It's not that like, it's not that hard to look up what ingredients go in the average thing. For example, like, most mascara is made with guano. If you know what that is, it's shit. So, buy vegan.
That, but you, like, promote MAC and, like, tons of other L'Oreal, like, all of the biggest makeup lines that, like, actually test on animals are, like, famous for being non-cruelty free. So
see, now that's an actually good reason to call him out, like, promoting non-cruelty free brands, because that's been something that has been, like, a thing, dude, as long as I can remember in the beauty. Since I've been buying makeup, I've known about, like, the little bunny on the makeup. And if you guys don't know, I'll teach you. If you want to make sure your brand is cruelty free, there should be a little, like, symbol of, like, a little bunny somewhere on their products, on the box, something. They'll usually have cruelty free listed on their website somewhere as well. But a lot of the common drugstore brands that you guys, like, might know of are not cruelty free. I found out, actually, there was a brand that I thought was cruelty-free that I had bought lipsticks from that wasn't, and I was, like, absolutely pissed. Like, absolutely so upset. So always check for the label. Don't necessarily trust other people online that tell you a brand is cruelty-free. Make sure you always check the labeling yourself. I think Rare Beauty is good, Amanda. I'm pretty damn sure, because Rare Beauty... Wait, no, that's Selena Gomez. I was like, is that Ariana Grande? No. I think Rare Beauty is good, though. I think I have something from Rare Beauty, if I'm correct.
Why would you sit there and not just verbally attack, but just, like, bully a brand that shouldn't even be on your radar? I never really understood that. But
every brand should be on any other makeup brand's radar. Low-key, I'ma be real. This is where I feel like a lot of brands fucked up in the early days, too, was, like, people were not looking out for brands like Lime Crime and, like, ColourPop that came up hella fucking fast. And what did they come up for, like, their innovativeness and, like, creativity? And if a lot of the bigger brands would have paid attention to that, low-key, some of those bigger brands would be stand out now in the way that, I mean, Lime Crime died, to be real. But if you know, like, 2010s, Lime Crime was the shit. So,
anyways, I'd like to rewind to a very important detail of all of this is that if you ask Jeffree how he made his makeup line, I'm sure the story will be something about how he's so self-created and all this stuff, which I think is kind of maybe how he wishes his approach to makeup was, but in reality, I can tell you how he started his makeup line. I can tell you because I was there, and it started in my living room at my house. And back when Jeffree was,
That's how close of friends they were, for perspective. Just saying. Amanda said 100% cruelty free and vegan. I'm good. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think most of the celebrity brands are good. I want to say REM, which is Ariana's brand, is also cruelty free and vegan, but it might just be cruelty free.
you know, I don't know. I think he was kind of not doing anything, and he came over and was hanging out. He wasn't doing anything as far as career wise, and he's kind of complaining or whining about some other brand that was doing really well at the time. And I just told him, man, like, I've always been the person who said, hey, why don't you have your own makeup line? I think I think Jeffree was creative. I think he's different, and I think he has his own style and aesthetic. And I always romanticized, this aspect of Jeffree that I don't even know it actually exists or not, but just like the fact that he was this outsider, that he was different, and
But doesn't know if that exists or not. Like, let's be so for real. Like, some of this, watching it back especially, is like such a reach. I feel like back in the day, people were like, oh yeah, this is a serve, because they like really hated Jeffree for like the fucked up shit he did, and rightfully so. It took him years to like actually like right his wrongs in the public eye. And I will say, like, as far as like at least racism goes, I haven't seen anything from him as anything recent. Correct me if I'm wrong, feel free. But I know he's definitely controversial politically, but like, I feel like he did go out of his way to make up for a lot of the really fucked up shit that he did in the early 2000s. But let me know if you feel differently on that. I know he's a very controversial person. I mostly liked him just for his makeup.
giving like his followers like a sense of belonging in a world where they might not, I don't know, where people tend to reject something that's so different. And I've always thought that was like something that he would strive for, but I don't necessarily think that that's the case anymore. So anyways, I think that was a big part of why I was wanting to help him out so much back then. But I went to such great lengths. I even hooked him up with a factory that was actually producing my Everlasting Liquid Lipstick formula, plus a lot of my eyeshadows at the time. And Judy was the name of the lady that was, the head honcho over there. And I basically got Jeffree a meeting over there and to see if he could start his own makeup line. And, even Judy told me after meeting with Jeffree, the only reason he even got that meeting was because I vouched for him. And
even this, it's just like, are we gonna act like regardless of that Jeffree wouldn't have eventually like done his own beauty line? Like, Jeffree's been one of those people that you've seen like over the years is like an entrepreneur through and through. Like, if it wasn't through you, he would have found his other connections to get through the industry. I feel like it's almost like a kind of like, what's the best way I can say it? Like, lifting herself up to put him down kind of thing, and like focus on the real shit. Like in this video, like there's shit to actually call him out for, and she's focusing on the just like little things. Bizarre Panda said he's not racist, but he is a grifter for sure. Couple years ago, he was big on pro LGBTQ folk, mostly because of the money. Now he's went on right wing as one of the good gays and the logical ones. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I knew he was like somewhat like right wings politically, and I know he had like one like controversial video a couple years ago where I think he said that he didn't respect like they them pronouns, and that's mostly what I was referring to. But I didn't know if there was anything beyond that. I mean, that's interesting. Because he's always the guy who's like, oh yeah, I have these like straight fucking football players and these basketball players all in my DMs, and you're always gonna have to play a guessing game of who they are. Like, so it's just a little funny coming from him.
there's been, more times where I have vouched for Jeffree and in hopes that he would like, do the right thing, and and in some cases it hasn't really worked out that way. And so I'm not looking for credit. I don't need him to like, give me a shout out every time he posts on Instagram, but like at least tell the truth, and just because I call you out on social media about being a bully doesn't mean, that that you can post a tweet that says, hey, Kat Von D has never supported me in my makeup line, when honestly, Jeffree, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be where you are now. I mean, as far as your makeup line goes. And I think, maybe you would do it some other way, but you definitely wouldn't do it at the capacity that you have been. And I think that's important to understand, because
and like okay, I'll give her some credit with this. Like, absolutely, the fact that she had already built herself up in the industry helped him like boost his stuff. Like, the connections he had helped build him. But me saying like I feel like she's giving herself too much credit here. It's like she's almost acknowledging herself as being like the only connect he had in the industry, which is just not really true. Like, he definitely had other friends throughout the industry. I mean, he stayed relevant over the years even when he was canceled. That's like the weird thing. Like, he was able to stay. He was canceled. People didn't fuck with him. It was almost like the Davi Vanity kind of thing. Like, Davi Vanity is fucking canceled. Nobody fucks with Davi Vanity, but he's still got like 18K followers on like Instagram right now, because there's still gonna be those like weird people that don't really care that they're canceled and still kind of support them, you know? So he was able to stay like relevant.
I think it's very easy to paint somebody with his pathological ways, and I think him, he tends to exaggerate a lot of things and borderline lie about a lot of things, and that's something that I've like learned over the years, spending a lot of one-on-one time with him. So the reason that I
Bro, oh my god, Mel Rothel. That is the biggest thing that I fucking hate about Jeffree. She said, not a fan of how he treats and enables Eugenia. 1,100,000 fucking percent. That shit pisses me the fuck off, because if you don't know a lot of the shit that happened like with Eugenia as far as like where Jeffree's involvement like came into play. So Eugenia met Shane Dawson when they were like doing that documentary or whatever, where he like filmed her house and he showed like her like locks on the doors, whatever the fuck. So through that, a lot of people kind of like low-key figured out that the mom has some weird shit to take part in with the whole Eugenia situation. If you guys ever want me to do a deep dive on Eugenia Cooney, like, I could talk about that situation and her for hours. Like, she was someone I used to follow when I was younger, back when she would just, because she always was skinnier. She always looked underweight, but there was a time when she was not as bad, and she was more of just, she was like an outfit influencer. She would post videos of her being like, oh, my goth outfit of the day kind of thing, and show like different outfits or cosplays and stuff. And that's what I followed her from. And then I just saw her deteriorate over the years, and I genuinely had to stop watching because it made me sad. Seeing her now makes me really upset and sad. There's also, there was a time people thought she had passed away right after her dog had died, because she made a post about the dog passing away, and then she left social media for a long time. And then there was a picture that was seen of her at Disney with her mom and the brother, who's really big. Anyway, so Jeffree's involvement in this entire Eugenia thing is after meeting Shane. Jeffree like became friends through like the documentary, like that's how like they all kind of met. And then he left YouTube for a bit to go do like TikTok lives when the whole cancellation thing happened with like Shane, and Jeffree like kind of got involved because he like stayed friends with Shane. And she went to TikTok live as well because she got demonetized on YouTube for like promoting an ED. And then he started doing like those battles with Eugenia and like constantly like bringing her over to his place and like filming these like this like content together. It was just like weird. And people would always ask Jeffree like, hey, are you like getting Eugenia help? And he'd say she doesn't have a problem. That kind of shit. It was just like, I don't know. If you've seen anything recent from her, you know she has a problem, man. It's not even a joke.
bring this up is because when I was helping him out with the creative.
Oh, Jill said she's banned off TikTok as well. Yeah, that happened in the past like 2 years then, because that's where they used to go live together. I know she got banned off of a lot of platforms because it was like deemed that it was like sexual or fetishization content, because she was like skin and bones showing her like underwear off multiple times on accident. It was just like weird things that would happen.
Of making his own makeup line. There was a point that we reached where I told him, hey, look, I can help you with mood boards, which I did. I just can't do your artwork for you. You know, it's something that I keep really exclusive to my makeup line. You know, I think my own team would be very disappointed if I started drawing for somebody else's makeup line. So I said, hey, look, I'm not going to draw the artwork for your makeup line, but I have a guy who's really great, and I've used him for tons of projects. I mean, he is like a lettering and...
Okay. Kat, you're a yapaholic. Loki got the gist of it, of why they stopped, like, why she didn't fuck with him initially, okay? She's gonna go on about, like, the artwork, all that shit. Here, let me go ahead. I'm gonna skip ahead in this a little bit to where she gets into the stuff specifically with BJ. Oh, I was right there. I'm so silly. Silly little me. This is where she starts talking about specifically the stuff with BJ Betts.
Logo specialist, and he's a really hardworking dude from Detroit. His name was BJ Betts, and so you know, if you guys look at any of my old videos, like my Muse of the Week or my Cat's Beauty Chat, like all that lettering BJ did, and if you scroll down in the credits, you'll see his name, and I always credit him for the artwork and the lettering for all the openings for that. And that's because it's important. I think as an artist, you know, we work super hard at creating something, and it really sucks when somebody just like steals that and then just exploits it and doesn't give you any credit, let alone payment. And so what happened is that
Yeah, that is pretty fucked up. If you commission somebody for something, now, here's my thing. If I commission somebody for art, I firmly believe that I should pay them before they even make the art, especially if I trust them as an artist. Usually, if I'm commissioning you, I trust you enough. Like, I've seen examples of your artwork that I know that you're gonna deliver, like, what I want. And, like, most artists, when you commission them, like, for example, if you're just getting, like, a drawing done, like, they'll send you, like, a sketch. If you're getting, like, an animation done, they'll send you, like, a rough, like, outline of, like, what things look like before they send you, like, a final product. It's not like you're just gonna get something in the dark if you pay up front. But I think that if you are an artist, it's good to take payment up front. People that aren't willing to pay you up front, probably sketchy to begin with, because, like, I'm not a big YouTuber, but I mean, it's publicly known. Psych is the person I will be commissioning for pretty much all of my channel art, and I pay Psych up front. It just, I don't ever want it to be a question of, do I need to pay this person later or whatever? Nah, I'm just gonna pay them up front. We're good. You make what you gotta do. Malian said a lot of artists do half up front. I think that's a good method too, but then you also have to worry, like, are they gonna pay you the rest kind of thing, so I think it's good to just pay your artist 100% up front, especially if you trust them enough to be commissioning them to begin with. They're going to make good work. Psych in the chat said, nowadays it's impossible to find an artist that doesn't require pay up front because of art thieves or ghosters. Exactly. So be ready to have your money ready. And, like, honestly, it's worth it. Like, small artists these days produce way better art than the same like AI, the problem with AI is it all has the same fucking style. You can put it in that you want it to be in a different style, but you're still going to recognize immediately that's AI. Like, small artists is something you will never be able to replicate, truly.
I introduced Jeffree to BJ, and then BJ drew up his logos, and then Jeffree went forward with them, and it's the logos that you guys see now on all of the caps of all of his lipsticks, and then never paid BJ. And BJ would call him, and basically Jeffree blocked his phone. And then so finally BJ called from a landline, and Jeffree answered, and then when he realized that it was BJ asking for payment, he hung up on him and blocked that number, and that's just what he does. So the minute that I found out about that, which was this last Saturday, I texted Jeffree and said, hey Jeffree, can you explain to me why you haven't paid BJ? And he basically told me to fuck off, or to go fuck.
That is shady and shitty as fuck. Especially if he's you, because it's one thing, like, okay, you commission art, you, like, hang it up in your house. Not saying it's, like, better to not pay them in that situation, but at least it's, like, almost like a one-time use kind of thing. He commissions somebody for something he's gonna sell and make fuck ton of money off of and can't even pay the guy. Like, that's just so wrong, bro. So wrong.
Fuck myself. And then blocked my number, and that's just how he does it. And then, you know, he blocks me on Instagram and blocks me on Twitter, so, like, as if I even followed him anyway, just because, I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love to follow him. For me, like, it's obnoxious to, like, constantly promote, like, what fancy car you're leasing or renting or whatever the fuck, you know. I just think, you know, trying to promote this lifestyle that, like, you know, your value is determined by, you know, the brand of purse that you wear, or the, you know, how big your house is, or how many cars you drive. I mean, you know, again, that's something that I don't want to be in this.
Now, I'll be clear, because I know a lot of people are kind of like, well, Jeffree Star's got a fuck ton of money, so why wouldn't he pay? Not in this era. Jeffree was, like, I wouldn't say he was, like, ever rich during this era. This was when he was, like, up and coming as an influencer. So he was, like, people knew his name and stuff, and, like, he was starting a brand, so he had, like, some money, right? But he was nowhere near the Jeffree Star you guys know today. Like, back when Jeffree Star Cosmetics first started, it took a couple years for it to, like, truly blow up, and it was through him, his YouTube blowing up, that the cosmetics brand blew up. And a lot of people started reviewing his products as well, like, almost because he was doing it. And there was, like, specific YouTubers that I know that low-key made his products blow up. Like, I don't know if the name Kato Potato sticks out to any of you guys, but she used to review every single Jeffree Star lipstick that ever came out. And if you ever wanted to know, like, how a shade was gonna look, you could go to Kato Potato's page and know. And so through that, it's like he had YouTubers that were, like, low-key just promoting him. Graveyard Girl, another one. Like, it was just, like, they would only low-key wear these, like, crazy Jeffree Star lipsticks because they had all these crazy colors that, like, nobody else had. Like, he came out with this, like, green one that was, like, a crocodile-themed one. I even had some back in the day. Like, I remember I used to wear Androgyny in high school, which is, like, I'm pretty sure it's, like, a purpley one, if I'm correct. My favorite lipstick to this day, to be really real with you guys, is a Jeffree Star cosmetic lipstick. I wear the shade Gemini. That's my favorite lipstick shade to this day. Like, I love it. It's the only thing that I always have to make sure that I have from his brand. I don't buy anything else except the shade Gemini. It is just, there's no lipstick that is a dupe for it. I've tried everything that people say is a dupe for it, and there's no dupe for it. It is just that good. So, I don't know, man. What can I say? I get it. Krabby Sue said I was gonna mention Kato earlier. Dude, I actually got one of her, like, Instagram reels recommended to me the other day, and I was just happy to, like, see her. I didn't actually, like, check up to see how she's doing. I know she had so many, like, health problems, like, during the era when she was, like, in the, like, reviewing the lipstick. So I hope she's doing good now. But Kato Potato was a fantastic YouTuber in the early 2010s. Loved her a lot. So let me go ahead and skip into this a little bit. So we're going to move past, like, the whole BJ Betts era. Well, actually, we have to see Jeffree's response. Actually, that's probably good, right? I can't skip through that. Here, un moment.
So today's video is a really hard one for me to make.
Dude, even Jeffree's audio. Holy shit. What are you filming this next to a fucking air purifier? Christ.
I have sat here for, we're on day 2 now since Kat posted her video about me, and at first it was really shocking to see someone that I've known for 10 years do something so aggressive. It really saddened me because there were so many things that were not true in the video. And obviously I have my subscribers, followers, and customers, and so does she. So obviously people—
Hold up, we're gonna speed him up. He be doing that thing where he, like, talks really slow and eloquently.
are gonna pick sides, but things have gotten past the point of just internet drama, or things have gotten way past just things getting a little ugly. We're now at the point, you guys, where 2 days later, I get a call from 3 of my family members, and people from the internet, after watching her video, have found their numbers. They're calling my family, screaming death threats on the phone, and leaving really just nasty, vile messages, and that's really scary. And it's also—
Now, this was something that I feel like was a easy YouTube tactic back in the day. Before this was just like a thing that happened to pretty much everybody on YouTube. This would be the easiest way to kind of get yourself out of controversy and sympathy bait. To be like, oh yeah, not saying they necessarily did it, but somebody called someone from my family, or somebody was like sending stuff to my house, whatever the fuck. If you go back in a lot of the early YouTube beefs, you will hear a story like this. And not saying that these things didn't happen. It probably did to some extent, but it is just a little bit funny that that's the first thing he chooses to address and not any of the actual accusations that she made on him.
Sad that strangers on the internet who have never met her and have never met me are being so aggressive. Now, obviously, is my past perfect? Whose is? No one's is. I've definitely apologized for all of my mistakes. If you don't follow me on Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram, you can find everything that you're worried about, or if you've ever had a concern about me. The last few months has been crazy. I've seen about 100 videos using my name, and it's just gotten into this big circus. So now we're here. I would like to give my side of the story and my official statement on all of this stuff. I think it has gotten so extreme. Kat, I can't believe that you would post something knowingly and calculating it where you—
Can I pause to just say something? I'm pretty sure I know the exact shade of Jeffree Star lipstick he's wearing, and I'm pretty sure it's Watermelon Pop. Really random, but I've been thinking about it this whole time while watching this. I'm like, that is definitely Watermelon Pop.
Knew the response it was going to get. You are not some random friend of mine. You are a celebrity. You have paparazzi after you. You are a big name. That, you can't deny that. And for you to use such a huge platform to say things that were not true, and to get the response you knew you were going to get, is so disheartening and so vicious. you end your video and start it by saying it's not a bashing video. I don't want my followers or fans to attack, but you knew exactly what was going to happen. So everyone that's attacking me and being aggressive and
you knew exactly what was going on. This is my problem. So many of these YouTube beefs, they try to like play the victim. They're like, you knew that by calling me out for this fucked up thing that I did, that people were then going to call my family and call my friends. It's like, well then, I don't know, like, don't do the fucked up thing. I'm not saying that people should ever harass anybody. I never condone any harassment of anybody online, but the more fucked up you are, the more you get canceled, the more you have to know that people are going to come after you. That's why when you're on the internet, you have to be careful of what you say. Especially if you're the type of person who says a lot of unsavory things and you say them online, it never goes away. People will find that. People will find anything from your internet history, especially your stalkers. And you can see, I mean, y'all met my stalker the other day. Like, you could be the smallest YouTuber and somebody decides to pick you to be the one to hyperfixate on, you know? Sammy said, and Jeffree says some insane shit. Exactly.
and choosing sides without ever hearing me speak, that's fine, that's on you. But to come on every social media platform and attack my friends and my boyfriend and my cousins and my mother is so upsetting, and I never knew you would take something this far. So I'm going to go down the points of everything that she said in her video and all the stuff that people have been attacking me with, and I'm just going to lay it all on the table. I think the big elephant in the room is this mysterious text message that I sent her, which she said she was going to show screenshots on Twitter. She never did. So I'm going to show our text conversation on camera because I just think it's fair, and I really think that that's a huge chunk of the story that is.
And it's messy. All right, here, let me show you guys, because he will yap about it here for like another like however long, and I can just show you guys.
That's very important to note. So as you can see, middle of December, we hadn't really talked.
Here, I'm gonna make this bigger. That's actually something somebody requested me to do, is whenever I'm trying to show you guys something kind of important, to make it a little bit bigger. Might block my face a little bit for a sec. Here, I'll just slide over this way. All right. Hopefully that's big enough that you guys are able to read it. Just let me know. So the text says, now his thread is blue. Hers is the gray one. So the gray one being Kat. Kat says, "Hey baby girl, quick question. Do you by any chance have a photo of your It clown tattoo? Just need it for this clown edit." And then, yes, let me find one. Sends a picture of the tattoo and then says, "Is this awful?"
Talked before then, but she reached out to me because she was doing.
"Is this awful? I can take one of it in a sec." And then she says, "A close-up would work best, but damn, your ass is banging in this photo." He says, "Haha, yes, bootylicious. Sending you photo in 5 minutes." Here, I'll just mute it and we'll read it as it goes through, because he's just scrolling through them. Then on December 14th, she says, "Fuck yeah." He sends the close-up photo of the It tattoo, then says, "How's that? Just needs a little contrast." She says, "Perfect, thank you." He sends heart eye emotes back. He says, "Hey babe, can you help me with the name of a furniture place that would something about amazing luxury furniture. Oh, that would have amazing luxury stuff for dining room, like over dramatic cool shit. I'm ignorant." And she says, "Like my dining room?" And he says, "Yeah, in that realm like this." And then let's hear what he says.
Furniture. I had just moved into my new house, and her furniture at her house is unreal. I did not know it was custom made at the time, so as you see, I'm like, okay, asking for advice. You see my big chair. So you see we're just talking about furniture, scrolling, and then
yeah, it's
silence. It's the end of February, and she asked if I'm doing a collab with someone, which I am going to blur out because that's just for privacy reasons. So she asked if I'm doing a collab with this person, and I said no. Take it to end of February, I asked, "Hey, can I film me getting a tattoo for my channel?" After I asked her to film, she goes silent. I do not hear or speak to her until a few days ago. So a lot of people on Twitter were misconstruing what I said. I said that I really hadn't seen her face to face in almost a year. Last time I saw her was in September, as you can see on her Instagram, if it's still up, and it's probably on mine, where we Instagrammed a picture together and she says best friends forever. So fast forward to, we are ending July.
So his first claim is that where people are trying to say that he was saying that he hadn't seen her at all, he's saying, no, it's not that I was saying I hadn't seen her at all or like talked to her at all. Because people are trying to say, oh, well, you're implying that you haven't spoke, and she's saying you guys have spoke. He's like, no, we definitely spoke. We just haven't like seen each other in person. And he proved that like through the messages that are clearly just them text interacting, nothing about them hanging out, just them talking about like furniture, like random like adult friend stuff. Oh my god, Novice, that's so true. Novice said, for real, justice for Jesse Slaughter. They were done so wrong and let down by so many people. Dude, I honestly would do an iceberg of all of like the fucked up fucking emo YouTube community shit that happened of like fucking like Johnny Gilbert, all that shit or whatever the fuck, if that would interest you guys one day, because Lord knows, like, because I saw somebody recommend that I go through like the fucked up shit that Johnny Craig did, which like I'm very down to do because I'm a huge Dance Gavin Dance fan. Also, I'm a huge Taylor Nicole Dean fan and have been a Taylor Nicole Dean fan since before she came out and said all the shit that happened with Johnny Craig. So when that crossover happened, I was like, bitch, what the fuck? Anywho, so basically, if there was an emo part of the internet on YouTube, I was watching it. So
right now, I get a text on Friday. And as you can see, all it says is, hey Jeffree, I just got off the phone with BJ Betts. Please explain to me why you haven't paid him for the artwork that he provided for you. So you guys gotta imagine where I'm coming from.
here, I want to actually back this up so we can just read what he says directly. Then he says to, here, I'll make this bigger so you guys can see it too. So he says to Kat Von D, who asks about why he didn't pay BJ Betts, he says, first off, he never did artwork for me and we passed on using him. The fact that you have even have the nerve to text me after you were telling the owner of Too Faced that I tried stealing ideas from you from our lab is truly disgusting and disturbing. You and I do not know each other anymore, and the past is the past. Please worry about yourself and stay the fuck out of my business. So remember before how I said about like the connections that a lot of these like YouTube beauty influencers would have? So Too Faced was one of the really big brands at the time. So her going to like Too Faced and saying that like, oh, Jeffree's like trying to steal ideas from my brand, Too Faced would then no longer probably want to like work with him in a collab sense because they'd be scared to bring him into the lab, scared that he'd steal from the brand as well, if that makes sense. S1K with the one Hot Dog Gang gifted member. Maybe I'll do a goal actually really quick for that emo stream deep dive, and then I could plan that out for next week. So would you guys rather it be a super chat or a members goal? Let me know in the chat and then I'll put it up for you guys, but I won't make it too big either way. All right, let's keep playing this.
Explain to me why you haven't paid him for the artwork that he provided for you. So you guys gotta imagine where I'm coming from. My friend has gotten very distant. One of my best friends has just really gone silent on me. And I'm just sitting here like, there was never any fight, there was never any crazy moment, there was never anything. So I sat back and I got really angry. 100% I was like, is this for real? Like, this is so bizarre. Instead of calling me or starting the conversation anyway, it's just, and I'm like, well, in my head, I'm sitting there going, you're not his manager, you're not his lawyer, you're not his business partner. You do work with him slightly on some designs, I guess, but I don't understand why it was her place to say anything. She actually had no idea what had already happened and what was transpiring. So, quick little backstory, BJ does some artwork for Kat. Now, I know Kat has always said she does all of her artwork for all of her packaging, but BJ has done lettering for some of her palettes. So when I was developing my line, I reached out and said, hey, do you know anyone who could help me with artwork? I asked her if she wanted to do something and she declined, which I totally understand. And she put me in contact with this man. So I had reached out to him and I said, hey, I'm one of Kat's friends, I want to do some stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now, my brand was non-existent at this point. It was an idea, and I had started working on my liquid lip formula, and that was it. I did not have a...
See what I was saying? Like, he didn't really have a brand. Like, he was just kind of like an influencer. Like, this is how his YouTube was at the era, so he did not blow up on YouTube the same way yet. Like, people knew who he was. He definitely had subscribers, but he was not the Jeffree Star that you guys know today. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me that he wouldn't pay somebody, but let's see what he says.
Company yet. I did not have a website. I had 0 products. So I asked her if she knew any artists, and she put me in touch with BJ Betts. Now, he started an idea for me. Now, at this time, I think it's very important to know, I took my life savings from when I quit music. And I also find it offensive, Kat, that you would say I was doing nothing at the time. I had a very successful clothing line. My online presence was growing and growing, and I was setting myself up to launch a brand. So I think that is very unfair to say. But I do think it is important to note that I invested my life savings, every dime I had, into my first 3 shades. Now, something she also did not mention is that initially she was going to be the investor behind my brand. And what I mean by investing is loaning me a certain amount of money so I could start my company, and then I'd pay her back immediately, and that was that. She agreed.
Yep. So that's a lot of how the industry got done for these like YouTubers back in the day too, was they would get these like investors who already had like beauty brands to invest in them and kind of like help them promote the brand so that it could become like more popular type shit. Here. How much is that? Wait, that seems like a lot. I'll do, yeah, 15. I was like 20 members seems like a lot. Equals emo YouTube deep dive. Okay, bet. I got the goal up. So if you guys are interested in seeing me do like the emo YouTuber like deep dive iceberg type of thing, if we can get 15 members before the stream ends, I'll definitely hit that for y'all. Oh, Krabby Sue said, y'all remember Social Repose? He had his grubby little mitts on Onision. Mm-hmm. That's one we'll talk about. Shout out to Chandon Yan, who already came in with 10 hot dog gang gifted. We only need 5 more and we'll hit this stream. It'll be next week because I pretty much have my streams planned out from today till the end of this week, believe it or not. We always do true crime on Thursday as well. So anytime you guys have any true crime cases that you're interested in me checking out and possibly deep diving, go ahead and let me know in the stream ideas section of the Discord because that'll be coming up in 2 days. But yeah, I got the rest of this week planned out and then I will be, if we hit this goal, be planning that out for next week. So thank you, Chandon Yan. But yeah, we're trying to green you, Tally, slowly but surely. Oh shit, barely hit it. Thank you, barely, for the 5 hot dog gang gifted members. And the goal is hit. So we will do, I think I'll do it similarly to how I did the cults. I'll do it as like almost like an iceberg. So we could like run through the different people from like the emo community who are either like in bands or like streamers, whatever the fuck, because it's all good. It's gonna be different types of people. Like Johnny Craig is like a band guy. Then there's like Brian Stars, who was like a YouTuber. Then there's like the whole like Austin Jones. Like there's so many things. We'll have a good time with this for sure. That'll probably be like a bit of a longer one, like I did with the cults one.
To it. I have emails, and we went back and forth. She gave me a lot of amazing advice, and I was really excited. So we're in the lab, I'm making stuff, and she kind of goes silent. And I'm like, hey, you know, like, what's going on? And I never heard back about the investment, which I thought was so strange because we're talking, you know, years and years of friendship. She said she was down, and then she went silent. So back to the logo. Now, so many people are harassing me and sending me the most nastiest messages about this logo incident. You heard one side of the story, now let's talk about the truth. So the last text message I sent is very important. Now in her video, she states, I told her to fuck off or go fuck herself. I never said that, Kat. Why would you make that up? The real message, which I think is a little scary, and it's going to upset some people, is this. Let me read it to you. I said, first off, he, meaning BJ, never did artwork for me, and we passed on using him. What I mean by this is that he did start an idea, but he did not design my entire packaging. So at the time, BJ wanted to, well, I wanted him to design my whole packaging for my liquid lip, and BJ started drawing a logo. He asked, do I want him to design my entire packaging? And I said, hey, let's start with the logo and see what happens. So that screenshot that Kat held up is like about 20 logos that he had quickly sketched up. At the time, I was stoked on getting something done, but I was also a little fearful because at that moment, I had invested my entire, like every last dime I had on my brand. So I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this guy's like an amazing tattooer.
Exactly.
He's a respectable artist. He's worked with her and done so many things. So I'm like, oh my God. So long story short, I didn't have a manager at the time. I had just fired my entire team from music. A year later, here we are. I had no manager, no lawyer, no business advisor to help me. So I'm just this person that really doesn't have a lot of money left. I'm trying to start my brand, and point blank, I couldn't afford him. So when I found out what he charged, I was like, oh my God, like I can't afford that at that moment. Like I'm so.
At least he's transparent about it. Like, at least he's just like, yeah, like, I really didn't have the money for this. It might have been a good drawing and all, but, like, I couldn't pay for it. I will give him the credit. It low-key wouldn't be embarrassing back in this era, because this was the era when people were, like, flaunting the money they had to say something like this and try to be this transparent. So you gotta at least give him the credit for saying straight up, I just didn't have the money to afford the drawing.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to step away. And I went to someone that had already been previously designing my entire clothing line and the beanies, and my brand was called Beauty Forever. Now that I have the makeup line, I closed it, but all of those designs and everything are still online.
Funny little interesting fact, when the makeup line blew up, he ended up bringing back the clothing line, but like rebranding it as just like Jeffree Star clothing. Some of it is actually fire looking. I never bought any of it, so I can't tell you his good quality or anything like that. I didn't really want to wear Jeffree Star merch, but like some of his like hoodies and shit looked pretty cool. He also did like the mirrors and stuff. Like I know a lot of people collected Jeffree Star mirrors that would fall under the merch line as well. And he also does like a skincare brand now too. And they're like 3 separate, like if you go to the website for the cosmetics, like there's little like tabs you can click on that's like makeup, merch, or skincare. Sammy said so. Does he have killer merch still? I don't think so anymore. I think he stopped doing that like a couple years ago.
And I just want to note that my merch in Hot Topic back in like 2007 to 2009.
And little sad news if you guys are a Jeffree Star cosmetics fan, a lot of the old palettes and like a lot of the old makeup has been discontinued. Like he stopped selling a lot of like the old stuff. Like you can't find the same like colorful lipsticks and stuff anymore. Like it's pretty much all like nude shades now. There's like red shades as well and like pinks, but it's like mostly nudes, reds, and pinks. And then if you go to like the eyeshadow palettes, like a lot of the really old classic bangers have been discontinued.
Had a star logo on everything with the J in it, and you can Google that. The receipts are all there. So fast forward to now. I stepped away. I could definitely not afford BJ at the time. I just didn't know what I was doing back then. I definitely learned my lesson.
That's real.
If anyone out there is doing business with someone, make sure you have a contract or a little agreement or something before you start working on ideas, because this is how things turn so ugly. So here we are. My graphic guy did the logo for me. Now, it is a basic star off Google. I'm not tooting my own horn. It's a star. My name is Jeffree Star. I got my name legally changed 10 years ago. I put stars on everything I have since the dawn of time. So this logo, my graphic guy was like, well, let me do something. And I said that I was very inspired by the classic designers like Gucci and Louis and Chanel. So he did a mirrored J, put it in there. Does it look similar? 100% it does. But did I steal the logo? 100% I did not.
So what I'm seeing is probably most likely what happened here is that Jeffree did get this logo drawn up by BJ. He liked the design, but just couldn't pay for it. And he knew somebody that wasn't going to charge him the same amount. So he took the design that BJ made, probably sent it to them as a concept and had them like edit it and make it their own. But it probably, the reason it does look similar is because definitely, like, there's no way he didn't use it as the same concept. He's even admitting to himself that it looks similar. And I think someone in the chat asked, did he ever pay BJ? No, because he didn't technically use BJ's design. He had somebody like redesign a design that BJ did. So that's kind of how he got out of paying him. So that's like the general gist of what happened to them. And that's like the main thing that made their friendship fall out in the early days. She went on and she addressed like the fallout on the Dish with Trish podcast, but because I've had so much tech issues today, I want to get into like the current stuff that's going on because I don't got a ton of time left because I gotta go run and do some shit. Anyway, so little bit of context for what we're gonna get into. So 2016 is when their friendship ended. So it's been 10 years since all of that stuff went down. They've taken like minor jabs at each other here and there, but it's been nothing crazy major. I mean, Jeffree's definitely made hints of like, I'm pretty sure at one point he directly called Kat Von D like a blood-sucking vampire or some shit like that. So he really doesn't fuck with her. She really doesn't fuck with him, but they are mostly like, don't really talk about each other until this situation happened. So this guy named Tiva is apparently the son of a woman who owned a house that was featured as Frankenstein's Castle in one of the old movies, like the 1930s Frankenstein's Castle movie. And Kat Von D had fallen in love with the property and decided that she wanted to rent the house. So while this home was being rented by Kat Von D, it actually burned to the ground. One of the only reasons that the home was still standing was because it was made of stone. And this home was actually featured in a TV show that Kat was a part of back in the era. One of the things to be noted that a lot of people have brought up about this house fire is that she actually did have a pet cat who did not make it from this fire. So to be noted, because when we get into what the accusations are, that's something that you should note because it'll make sense when I'm bringing that up later. Anyways, so then it said that Tiva's family had lost belongings that like were the family's belongings that were still in the home. She also lost her belongings, and like I said, her kitten. The kitten's name was Valentine. There were a few fire reports for multiple incidents that had occurred at the home over the time, and there is court cases to back a lot of this up, but it's really hard to find because a lot of this is like so years old that it's like impossible. But Tiva does a TikTok tell-all where he talks about the experience, and so this is where everything begins. So this guy comes on TikTok and he basically says, that because of the fact that his mom has passed away and, you know, she's not here to speak. Is there no way to full screen TikToks? That's a little silly. Why can't I full screen it? That's a little stupid and silly. I don't want to show like everybody else's TikToks on the side that I follow. There's got to be a way to full screen it. I guess not. I just don't want to show everybody else's TikToks. Here, let me just try like copying the link and like reopening it because it's gonna like show everybody I follow. Oh, now it's just showing Jeffree Star. Beautiful. Okay, I just had to recopy it. Recopy the link. Oh. Funny little time for OBS to disconnect and reconnect. Don't really know what happened there. All right, so we're going to watch this on 1.25 speed. For whatever reason, it won't let me full screen it. I thought you could full screen TikToks, but... So this is the Tiva guy talking about the whole situation of the house fire. Remember everything that I told you before. Yeah, the TikTok website is a fucking mess. I hate TikTok.
Morning. I'm going to tell a story that I have had close to my chest since I was a kid. I wasn't able to tell the story or allowed to. Many years ago,
I love when my mic just falls on me.
Had signed an NDA with a celebrity in order to avoid trial and get a settlement. The thing is I didn't sign an NDA because I was just a kid. Well, my mom is no longer here. I want the story to be told because I think that celebrities should be held truly accountable for their actions. It was 2008. My mom had just lost most of her money and she needed to rent the home. A celebrity came along and wanted to rent the house out. Everything was fine, except for one time I was here with my parents. They were maybe working on something with the house, and I got to meet her, the person renting, and I saw the way that she had lived, and it was bizarre. There were candles everywhere, candles of all sizes, big, small, wide, every single...
When he says that this is bizarre, can I just be real? That's just a goth aesthetic. She was just living the goth lifestyle. Should she have lit all the candles? Fuck no. But candles are very gothic. As somebody who has, I have like one of those, it's really funny because my boyfriend calls it the haunted mirror. I went to an antique store one time, and I'm not even joking. It was like my eyes like fucking fixated on this mirror. Like I was like walking through and it just like spoke to me. It's this like oval shaped mirror and it has two candle holders and it's just like pretty and like he thinks it's haunted. I don't think it's actually haunted. I think it's just gorgeous. But so like very like kind of like gothic-esque. As somebody who likes the gothic aesthetic, candles are a thing. Like when I get a house one day, we'll probably have like a set up of just like a table that has like a bunch of candles and stuff on it that aren't lit, you know, just because candles are pretty. They can be ornate and people like carve things into candles. Like you can get really cool candles. Anyways, sorry. I fuck with it. But what he's saying here about that being weird isn't the strange part. The strange part is lighting them. If you have a fuck ton of candles, you should not be lighting them for fear of burning your house down. I know a friend, coincidentally enough, who, when she was in college, had left a candle. She had a table of candles. She told me, like 5 different candles. She had left a candle burning overnight on accident and accidentally burned the dorm down. Not like down, but like that dorm had to get condemned for the rest of the year so they could fix it. My friend literally burned the dorms with a candle, so just don't be fucking around.
Corner, every mantle, down the steps, along the walls, really everywhere. Along with taxidermy, like a wolf just standing in a bedroom looking at you and
Yo, he is judging the same drip I'd have. Why have I been saying for like the past like 3 years I would do anything to get a taxidermy raccoon? Like this guy I feel like is just roasting the same like setup I'd have in my crib. That sounds pretty dope. Like I'd be real. I really want specifically a taxidermy raccoon that's like fishing or has got a little cowboy hat on. That's a dream. I like taxidermy. I think it's cool. Maybe I'm a little weirdo, and that's fine. But, like, he's just judging the shit out of me right now.
You know, animal heads on walls. Shocker, the house burned. There was a ginormous fire that took place. It was negligence, and the arson investigators declared that it was a candle fire. I just want to give context. There were holes throughout the hardwood floors, smoke damage in the entire home. The only reason that it was, you know, it stood was because it's made from stone. Now, I want to be a...
Now, I want to point on note on something that he says here. He says that it was determined by, like, the professionals. I can't remember exactly who he said that it was a candle that caused the fire. This is actually not true. In the court documents, it was proven, according to the arson specialist is what they called it, that it was an electrical fire. So, just a little bit something important to note is that he does say that, doesn't provide proof on that, but I have seen proof provided that the arson specialist labeled it an electrical fire. To be noted.
Definitely clear about something. My mom passed due to cancer. Our family believes that the stress of the fires and the restoration process and the lawsuit is truly what brought it back with such vengeance.
Now, I'm not trying to discredit this man's grit him down for what he believes here, but I will say I don't think that you can put your mother's passing onto a years-old situation and the amount of stress it caused, especially when she passed from cancer. Like, I just don't think you can put the stress of the situation made the cancer come back with a vengeance. That's just a bit of a reach, buddy. That's not how cancer works. Cancer is an unfortunate thing, but I think to put the passing of your mother onto Kat Von D is very extreme.
Thing I want to make clear is this person that rented the home and then caused a massive fire throughout the house due to her own negligence.
Now, I do want to point out something. I did bring up before that this fire that he was talking about, the one that pretty much burned the house down, other than the stone that was standing, that was determined to be an electrical fire. Now, there are previous police reports of candle fires happening at the house. Fires that were caused by candles, but nothing as major as the fire that is being discussed.
I had the audacity to send my mom hate mail, hateful, spiteful emails. She was in denial. She was a liar, a narcissist, truly a mean person. All the while, she actually used the home and claimed that it was hers on her TV show, which my mom said she wasn't allowed to do, but didn't have the energy or the heart to pursue her for that. Now, I believe.
Now, this is another part where I'm kind of just like, well, she didn't have the energy or heart to pursue her for that. Well, like, okay, if she's on a TV show, she's renting out the house, she's gonna say it's her house. That's just how that TV works, whatever the fuck. But your mom should have just put her foot down and been like, no, I don't want you filming in the house. Like, to be real, like, you can't blame everything on Kat Von D, especially because, to be noted, he was a child when a lot of these situations happen. So, yes, he might have these perspectives or whatever after, like, talking to his mom as an adult, but also he might have a warped perspective of just being, you know, on his mom's side because he was a child and children don't really always understand situations to the fullest extent, you know?
Believe that this woman had very dark energy at the time. My mom did, and my dad did believe the same thing. My mom had a halfway written fiction book about the experience because she wasn't legally able to mention this person's name. And she told me she didn't release it or want to finish it because she was afraid of what this person's energy would then bring forth to her. And I feel.
And, like, is there any proof that's just, like, fiction? But I don't know. He says a lot of these things here that I'm like, there should be some sort of evidence of that we don't really get evidence of, at least in this first video. So just to be noted, there is more to come. We're reacting to it as if this is happening in real time. Also, Sammy said so in the chat. I'm sorry, I have to read this funny ass story. She said, I unfortunately have lit my bangs on fire on accident before. It's true. I was lighting a cig carelessly and those babies went up quick. I was bending over a bit to avoid the wind and it backfired. Dude, that reminded me, one time I was tripping on something, a little, if you will, and I was smoking, and because I was, like, obviously a little fucked up, I went to light the lighter and I had acrylic nails on, and I'm not someone that ever really gets acrylic nails. I had only got them because, like, I went to go see my mom for New Year's. We went to go get our nails done together. They were, like, long and really throwing me off. I went to light the lighter, and I fully lit the entire acrylic nail on fire, okay? And then, because the blunt was already lit, the cherry, because I'm going like this to try to get my nail to go out, the cherry falls out of the blunt onto my thigh, and, like, because I'm, you know, I didn't notice that because I was worried about getting my nail off of fire. Definitely burnt my nail from a coffin shape into an almond shape. It's all good though. But by the time I got my nail out, I realized that there was a fire also burning on my fucking leg because the cherry is like the hot part of the fucking blunt. And then I realized, and by the time I moved it off, there was just a cherry-sized hole in my leg that I still have a scar from to this day because I didn't fucking notice it was burning my leg. So relatable. This was all happening on a very windy balcony, which is part of why the nail lit everything all at once. It was a fucking really funny story looking back. Nothing hurt me at the time because I couldn't feel anything, so it was all good.
That my mom's energy will protect me from whatever this person could do with her own energy. We're big on energy here. So, Kat Von D, I am that little kid that you met back in the day who you destroyed the family home of with your negligence and your candle obsession. Thankfully, my parents won the lawsuit against you, but that didn't take away the stress that both of my parents endured dealing with you. Now, I thought long and hard.
Wait, I'm sorry, you said another funny one. Sammy said y'all accidentally cough and knock the lit weed out the bowl like a fireball shooting. You ever accidentally like hit a bong before and you cough into the bong and the water shoots it up like like exactly what you're saying, like a fucking fireball into the abyss, and you just got like burnt fucking ash all over you now. God, it's so diabolical. So diabolical.
About whether or not I should forgive this person, Kat Von D. And the truth of the matter is my mom, I don't think, would forgive her for the stress that she put our family through. The life experience is short. When you have to deal with people like this, it really does strip off years. And I believe that I watched that happen with my own mom in real time. In this world, there are people who carry light energy and then dark energy. People whose souls work for light and dark.
He's getting into the vampire. He's getting into the vampire area. Oh, bong water be stankin'. Y'all should change. Now, as someone who used to not change your bong water every day, let me tell y'all something. Let me teach you something. Mold can grow in a bong really fast because of the fact that the weed particulates are getting into the water, and I really, really recommend that you guys change your bong water just once a day. Just dump. You don't have to clean your bong every day because I know it's going to get all like black and whatever the fuck. Literally though, just change the water. Do your lungs, your health, yourself a favor and just change the water once a day. To make sure you change the water. When you're done smoking for the day, just dump out the water that's left in the bong. So then in the morning, you'll have to put new water in. Just do that for your health.
Kat Von D, I believe, is on the dark side. And my family, my dear mom, had to be on the receiving end of that. So I do not forgive her. That is my story time about Kat Von D. I don't think enough people know her character. Hello, Kat Von D.
So that's his story about that. Really quickly, one last thing about bongs, because Sammy said so, said something interesting. She said, ice in your bong water, fun hack. Actually, don't do that. Cold bong rips are not good for you. Fun fact. It feels really nice, but they're not good. It's actually better, believe it or not, to put warm water in your bong. It does way better for your lungs. It's really strange. It will feel odd the first time you do it, but it low-key feels even better than ice. It's really strange. You gotta trust me, but you can look up the exact science behind it. I forget why it does that. I think it's like similar to how like it works when you're in like a sauna or like a steam room. But yes, warm water is actually better than cold water. And when you're cleaning your bong, really important thing to note, never switch from using cold water to hot water rapidly. You need to gradually change the temperature of the water so that you don't crack your bong, because if you go from like hot or warm water to all of a sudden putting cold water in it, your bong will literally crack or shatter, especially if it's a cheaper glass. I can teach you guys so much. Kankem Roo said, I'm trying warm water tonight. Thank you, Zay, saving my life. Another method that I know a lot of people use for cleaning a bong specifically is if you leave a little lemon juice in it with some warm water overnight. It's not going to be a deep clean, but it'll help clean it out a little bit. I don't really recommend, I've done it before though. You really will have to clean it out good after though, because it'll leave a little bit of a sticky residue. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going on in this. If you guys ever have any questions about, I'm your girl. Okay, so Kat Von D did a response to Tiva's post, basically, giving her side of the story on what happened, because obviously this is an old situation. These are some crazy accusations, and she wanted to speak her piece on it.
Accused of burning down a house and contributing to the death of a woman with cancer, and you know, I want to be as respectful as I can in this video, but it's also very hard not to
Oh my god, my mic keeps falling. I'm so
be
sorry.
disheartened by this man's accusations. And not just that, but also just how quick people, they see a video on TikTok and then they just think not to question the other side to it. And I definitely feel forced to do this. This incident happened, I believe, almost 16 years ago now. So it's kind of crazy to think that it's coming up now.
Can you guys hear her cat purring? Can you guys hear her cat purring? Because that's actually so wholesome. Her putting her cat in this video, she knew what she was doing. He is purring, bro.
But here we are. So let's get into it. Tiva is accusing me of burning down his mother's house because I was lighting candles, which is not true. I wasn't even...
I need to read this one because this is actually so diabolical. Psych Draw says, cat looks so much like Jeffree now, my high ass got confused.
In the home when the fire happened. I was on a book tour. He's also accusing me of having made his mom sign an NDA to where she wasn't allowed to talk about a lawsuit or anything that happened with the fire, which is not true either. We have had people sign NDAs, landlords or, you know, people that we do any business with in the beginning when we sign contracts, just so that people aren't selling my information to, at the time, tabloids and things like that.
That does seem like kind of a common practice for a celebrity to do. When he first brought up the NDA, I didn't really think it was that crazy because I figure, like, especially if a celebrity's renting a place, they'd kind of make their landlord sign an NDA.
But after the fire had happened, like, we never gave an NDA for his mom to sign. So I rented this house from a woman named Deborah back in 2010, which is like 16 years ago. And it was a beautiful house. It was a really small house in the Hollywood Hills. And I loved it so much because it was a very unique house. It was Frankenstein's castle from the 1930s movie. And even though it was tiny, it was perfect.
Here, we're gonna speed her up too. I forgot you could do that on TikTok.
For me and my cat, and that's who lived there. It had like one main bedroom, a small kitchen, and then like an entryway that was like a living room. It also had a basement that was turned into a recording studio in, I believe it was from the 1930s, but maybe got revamped later on in the 80s or something. This is where I believe the fire started. I do believe it was an electrical fire, and the arson specialist, the official arson like fire guys that came over to inspect everything, literally told us that it was not a candle fire, that this was most likely started in the basement in that old recording studio from some type of faulty wires or from the panel. The reason I bring up this panel electrical situation is because I have the emails where I had asked Deborah on several occasions and told her that there was electrical issues in the house, specifically with the panel and also with this garage door that she refused to get professionally fixed. And I understand, like, people are like, you know, struggling.
So here's the problem in Kat Von D's video, right? Is she says that she's got these receipts of things, but I'm pretty sure from what I remember of this one, she doesn't actually end up showing anything from the start to the end of this. So she's going to talk about a lot of these things, and she's going to talk about like the things that she requested or whatever. But then we will get into his response to this one where he actually does provide some receipts. So I just want you guys to keep that noted for now.
With money or you know, trying to save money where they can, but instead of sending out professionals, she kept sending out her husband, who was not a trained electrician, and I brought that to her attention several times. There was like Cindy
Moon Girl in chat said Dustin Daly read out part of the fire department report and allegedly said it was most likely a fire started by a candle. So the problem with that, and the issue that I've had as well, is being able to confirm the exact reports, right? Because there's actually been multiple reports of candle fires happening at that property, but the one report that I was seeing, which I think is the same one that he was talking about, I couldn't confirm 100% if that was actually the one that burned down the house or if it was just one of the smaller fires. So I didn't want to tell you guys without a shadow of a doubt that it was a candle fire. Now, I have also seen, though, that there has been paperwork that she put out previous, like when all of the situation went out, of the arson specialist confirming that it was an electrical fire. So both of those things are kind of contradictory, but there is information out there, so it is kind of hard to really get the exact for sure. But I did want to read that out because that is very true. Thank you for that, Cindy Moon Girl.
Times that there was actual sparks within the house and at the light panel and at the garage door. Do I think that this could have been avoided? Possibly. I think if a proper electrician would have come and repaired things and looked at things, that they might have been able to catch it. I don't know, but to go forward and blame me and my gothic decor, it's just not right. You know, no one...
Yeah, that is the one thing I found a little funny. It's like, he's like, oh, the gothic decor is so crazy. It's like, this just sounds like normal, like he's like heads on the walls. Taxidermy? I'm like, I don't know. This just sounds like she wanted her house to look like an oddity shop.
Came out of this situation unscathed. You know, I am very fully aware that she lost her home, like, you know, the home that she owned. I lost the home that I lived in. You know, the fire took everything from me. I mean, I literally had nothing. I lost all my clothes, my computer, my hard drives, all my photos. I mean, there's like a huge, massive gap in my life that is just went up in flames. And most importantly, my little kitten, Valentine, was in the house when the fire happened. The firefighters told me that thankfully she didn't burn alive. I mean, I would hate to imagine that she suffered that way. They found her in my bed and she was asleep. So most likely they said that like the smoke inhalation killed her. So, you know, it was traumatic for everybody. Tiva claims that between the renovation and the lawsuit between the insurance companies and, you know, losing the stress of losing the house and everything, he's saying that it's my fault that her cancer progressed and that, you know, I have something to do with her dying. And I feel like
that's a lot to put on somebody. Like I was saying before, that's where he kind of lost me in that first video. I was like, okay, I'm listening to your story. I'm hearing you out, man. And then he said that, and I was like, well, it kind of feels like you're just looking for Kat to be the enemy in your story. Like, this is your villain arc, and you want to make sure that, like, you are heard, that she is the enemy in your story. And that's fine, but, like, you got to be legitimate about what happened.
It's such an unfair thing to impose on someone. I am beyond sorry for your loss, Tiva. I really am. You know, I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a mother that you're so close with. But at the same time, you know, I didn't set the house on fire. This was a tragedy, and It was out of both of our controls. And I would never wish that on anybody. So, you know, to frame it in the way that you're doing it it's hard not to take offense to that. So last night, as I was laying in bed and seeing an influx of all these comments calling me like a mom killer and an arson and all kinds of crazy things, I prayed about it and lost a lot of sleep over it. And my heart goes out to Tiva. You know, he's lost his mom. He was a
Cindy Moon Girl said that's such a stretch from the guy, but you can kind of understand a teenager losing their mom, blaming the one person, you know, sort of antagonizing the mom, but man, blaming Kat for the death is insane. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's my thing. Like, I am very respectful of his grief and his grieving process, and I kind of understand, like, where he's coming from with this, but he's also got to acknowledge that, like, when he's, like, telling the story, like, it's probably better for him to leave those, like, personal, deep feelings and beliefs out of it if he wants to come off legitimate. Because when he starts throwing stuff like that in there, people are like, okay, well, is this, like, a story of feelings or is this a story of fact, you know?
Teenager when the fire happened. And so he's recounting a story through the lenses of, you know, a son who loves his mom and whose mom is suffering. So I can't really hold that against him. But what I can hold against him is just the villainization that he's doing. And I hope that he's able to find peace somehow, but I'm definitely not going to be someone's emotional punching bag. That's just not how it works. So anyways, I'll post screenshots of emails now if you guys want to like hold down and read them. And yeah, here's a screenshot of an email where Tiva came over with his dad and how he and the family were praising me on the beautiful decoration that I've done to the house on the interior. Which later he goes on to, you know, in his TikTok videos now as a 30-year-old man to recount stepping into the house and being spooked out by all the taxidermy and just, you know, making it sound like, you know, I just destroyed the place and made it so scary and awful.
Okay, so here's the email. I'll read it out to you guys as fast as I can. We're probably going to run over 5 p.m. just a little bit because of all the tech issues, and I want to finish this up. It says, "Hi, Kat. On behalf of my son, a locally sponsored small-town skateboard hero who was stoked you gifted him with 3 boards and a few headphones. I thank you. He says you're the nicest person he's ever met. Zach," and I'm assuming that's Zach, just spelled weird, "and Tiva tell me that you've done an amazing job with the inside, and once and that you've got a menagerie of animals inside. Once upon a time, I was thinking of turning the pond into a reptile cage. My son was always looking out for my interests. Did happen to mention the red leather couches are not in the house? I'm sure you've got them in safekeeping somewhere. Just let me know they're okay, all right? Thanks for everything. Sorry for the drama earlier this week. Warm regards, Deb. And then the response says, hey, Deborah, sorry to bug you with this, but after meeting Zach as well as your son yesterday, I told them I've had some skateboards to give them today. I have to leave to go on a recording session to the other side of the town at noon, and I wanted to see if they planned on dropping by before I have to leave. I just don't think I have Zach's contact. Maybe if you don't mind passing along this message, thanks. So that was her response into after we got the skateboards.
Here's an email where I had asked her several times to please hire like certified people to check on the electrical and also other things that were happening in the house instead of sending people who were not qualified.
Okay. So she kind of like skipped through the first part before it was even readable, but it says, thanks for the heads up. In the future, it would be nice to have a notice when he comes over all together. If you're not okay with that, I understand, but I've never met Zach. So yesterday when he was hanging outside during a songwriting session I had scheduled that day in the house, it was a bit unsettling. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know how seeing a person you don't recognize hanging outside your bedroom for quite some time can be a bit uncomfortable when doing something as intimate as writing music. I assumed because he was talking with the gardeners, he wasn't trespassing. I just didn't recognize him. Once you have figured out an exact time, please let me know so I myself or Sister Caroline can be present at the time of the inspection. Here is what he reported to me. The exterior windowsills need to be painted. This is another job. In addition to the painting the bedroom rooftop, and that will need to be completed before the rainy session begins. It is possible that he will contract a laborer later this week or to begin this job as early as next week. I didn't know the bedroom rooftop needed paint. The leak that occurs during the raining sessions are in the main room and in the entrance, dripping directly over the second and third step. This is because it never actually got fixed. I had a roofing expert come and take a look at the problem back when it was raining. He took photographs of the roof and showed them to me, and it was alarming how much work is truly needed in order to actually fix it properly, versus a quick temporary fix that will most likely do more harm than good in the long run. I can forward you those photos if you haven't seen them already. Please let me know if when you do decide to schedule a laborer, just because I'm in the middle of writing music and I'll need to schedule my sessions around the noise. To the gate, the carpet is tied open. Why? It's tied because it's broken. The last time I notified you of this problem, you had somebody come and fix the gate to the carport is tied open. Why? And her response says, it's tied open because it's broken. The last time I notified you of this problem, you had someone come fix the sensors for the garage door, but it never actually had a motor part fixed. Again, my concern is that whoever is doing these repairs doesn't specialize in the job, because after having done a professional come to take a look at it, it was clearly not done correctly, and I can send you the photos of that as well if you haven't seen it. The wire used on the actual motor is the speaker wire, and the parts of it are held together with duct tape. My garage door guy quoted me a new unit starting at $900, but I didn't want to move forward without talking with you about it. The problem with the garage door unit is that it needed to be replaced. A big part of the reason the Christmas lights and any other type of outdoor lighting is shorting out is because of the levels of electricity are not balanced, especially with the garage door opener. Late one night, the garage door was not responding to garage openers, and both my vehicles were trapped inside. Because I had to go to work, I called my contractor to help me open it so I could at least go to work. The gate itself is too heavy to manually open and close it, so that should explain why it's tied. Trust me, the last thing I want to do is... Oh, that was Xbox. Trust me, the last thing I want is anything to be harmed, including my 2 cars, my belongings, and any of course the property itself, let alone my privacy. It is your house, so obviously whatever you say goes, but I personally think that what you pay for and a lot of these easy fixes cost you a lot more time and money down the road. So we're seeing some proof, but we still haven't seen anything about the actual electrical issue other than the carport that she's talking about. She specifically says that she thinks it was from a basement electrical issue. So I'm waiting to see if that comes up here. The next one, according to the neighbors, there has been a lot of rash burglaries in the Hollywood Hills, including Laurel Canyon, and Kat needs to secure her own safety as well as that of the properties. We absolutely insist that the carport gate be kept closed at most times. Further, the side gate and the gate in front of the house are to be closed and locked at most times. I suggest to Brad at FS Management that if Kat needs more electronic gate openers for frequent guests, to notify us, and we will see to it that she gets them. Bottom line is that these are tough economic times for many people, and the crime rate will continue to escalate. Please do what is necessary to take care of yourselves as well as the property, and that means not drawing attention to yourselves or the property by exposing what you have. Keep all exterior gates closed and locked, and everything will be fine. We will work with you to address Kat's needs. She then says, I've answered the first part of this concern in the above paragraph, so you'll see I don't need any more gate openers. As for the front gate, I always have it locked, as I rarely use it outside of answering the door when food is delivered. The doorbell does not work anymore, so if I am expecting a delivery, I leave it ajar until the delivery arrives, only to lock it immediately after. I understand your concerns about leaving things exposed, and I hope you understand that I am more concerned than anyone else, considering I live here alone with my cat.
Here's another email where
it also said at the bottom that the side gate was broken and that they would be repairing it the next week.
she's asking to raise the rent or whatever to pay for her kids' college fund. But at the end, she's praising me for how I've been taking care of the home and how happy she is with me living there.
But I want you guys to note that in all of that email thread that we saw, we never saw anything about her asking to fix any electrical issues in the recording studio in the basement. She says that she specifically asked about that because she said that that's where she believes the fire was caused, was in the basement in the recording studio, and that was something she had asked to have fixed before. Then she talked about the carport. We saw the messages about the carport, but we didn't see anything about the recording studio in the basement, which she directly said that she asked to get fixed. Now, the next email says, "Hi, Kat. I don't like to raise rent. In fact, I hate to. It's just that Teva, who started school this month, is stating that his intention is to go to college. I'm aiming to put away as much as I can each month toward his college expenses between now and the time he actually starts. I'm wondering, how would you feel about a $225 monthly rent increase? It's not much, especially when you average it out over time, but it figures into the monthly savings plan for him. And I promise I won't raise the rent again next year. Let me know if you're okay with this, and I'll take it up with Brad at FS. Oh, and by the way, I'm wondering if next time I'm in LA, Caroline could arrange for me to see my furniture you've got stored in your vault. I have some irreplaceable antiques, and I'd feel better if I knew where they were being stored. It's hard to believe, but it's been almost 2 years. You've already been the keeper of the castle, and I'm glad you've made it your home. Warm regards, Deborah." Now, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think showing this was that crazy. I think raising the rent by $225 monthly also isn't that crazy, especially during this era is the early 2000s when the housing market crashed and stuff and the economy was just kind of fucked. So she didn't raise it by $500 or anything. It was $200 a month, which is kind of an extreme raise. I know where I live, usually every year I renew, they raise it by $50, which does add up every year when they raise it, right? So at least she's promising, hey, it's a one-time raise and it won't happen again next year. But it's not that much considering it's a house, and it's a castle. But that is the end of the message.
And lastly, here is the email where I had to respectfully set some boundaries with her after she berated and yelled at my staff. And, I just respectfully asked her to refrain from calling us because she was yelling so much and just stick to emails. It's stern, but in no way is it hate mail. So, yeah, there you guys go.
Okay, this one's a long one. First, I want to start off by telling you, I hope you know this is coming from a place of love. I can understand how much the situation is affecting you and your family, and I hope you understand it's the same for me. Kat McPhee is going above and beyond to make sure everything is handled on our end in the best way possible. You are always included, and there isn't anything we are doing that is moving forward without you. I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about as far as her taking action on things involving the house without you. The response says, "I've had her change the keys to the house to make sure you get your camp copies. I'm assuming this is one out of the two things that you are referring to. Please understand that once this fire happened, 1 million people came out of the woodwork, mainly neighbors, your friends that were coming in and out of the house. Supposedly they had your permission, but that doesn't make me feel all too good considering how, although you own the house, I've been living here for the past 3 years. This is a very hard thing to go through, and having people who I've never even met waltzed amongst all my destroyed personal belongings, well, imagine how that feels. I don't need any extra attention to my personal life, and people have been discussing the extent of the damage that has occurred. I know that you are most likely in an emotional state of mind right now and don't feel comfortable with you having my number. I'm trying my best to stay positive amidst all this adversity, and am confident in my team that they're keeping you in on everything. I know you vented on Kat for a long period of time, and by venting, I mean yelled at her, and I need to set my boundaries with you because moving forward, you need to know that I respect you and your feelings, and I'm hoping you do the same for me and my team. There's no need to yell at Kat or anyone. I could easily do the same to you, and I've instructed Kat from this point on to not be the point of contact with you anymore. She understands your emotions and where you're coming from and is not taking it personally. So from now on, other than emails to Kat where you copy me and Brad on, I'd prefer you call Brad if you have to talk to anyone about the house. I know your house has been damaged and that you've lost things like your family photos and whatnot, but please take into consideration, not only did I lose a majority of my belongings too, including things of a much greater monetary value than the stuff you had in the house, but I lost my cat, my dear baby cat. You can rebuild this house, take photos of your son, but nothing can and ever will replace Valentine. I am convinced that this was clearly an electrical fire, which I warned both you and your partner about updating the panels ever since the electricity went out in the garage. Oh wait, fuck. It cut off. Fuck.
This week I've been accused.
Fuck me. Here. I'm convinced this was clearly an electrical fire, which I warned both you and your partner about updating the panels in the garage since the electricity went out in the garage. I could be wrong, but in no way will I be blaming others and change the situation. The quicker we both come to terms on what happened and accept it, the quicker we can move forward emotionally and start to heal. God does not hand us anything we cannot handle. No one other than my beloved animal companion died in this tragic accident. We need to be very thankful for that. Your family photos, although have sentimental value, aren't worth giving yourself a heart attack or projecting those feelings onto others who are just trying to help. I want you to know that in every step of sorting this out is all taken cautiously and respectfully to you and your belongings, as well as efficiently as possible. We are following the insurance company's directions to a T, and I promise both you, Kat, and Brad are working together super hard to coordinate with you and let you know what's happening on our end. I hope you're able to find some peace in all of this. It's hard when you're in the middle of it all, but please know I will do everything in my power to help you throughout this process. I'm sending you lots of positive vibes today in hopes that you can enjoy your family, friends, in this moment on Thanksgiving. Kat Bondi. So yeah. So she mentions in this thread about the panel, but she did not say anything about it in the initial thread of when she was asking for things to be fixed. Now, she mentioned that the garage was having issues like with electricity, but she wasn't exactly saying directly what it was. So then Jeffree Star had commented on the video about the initial fire, and he confirmed that he was in DMs with Tiva. So he commented something along the lines of, I know what really happened. I'm sorry your family had to go through this.
It's something really, really dark that happened to somebody. I don't find it funny. I don't find anything about it funny.
Oh, this one can be full screened. It's shorts. Amazing.
So that's all I have to say about it. Now behave, stop asking me dumbass questions, and shut up, okay? Like, girl, I had no idea. My comment has so much attention on that man's video. That's why. You guys, me and him are talking directly. I don't owe anyone an explanation. Okay? Me and him are talking. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I had no idea my comment has 80,000 likes. That's why y'all are up my ass about it. Okay, got it.
So Jeffree, kind of as far as the situation goes, is like, oh, when he leaves a comment, he's like, oh yeah, like I know about this, but then kind of says he doesn't. And then he goes on to say this. Here, let me, because it starts about like 20 seconds into this video. It's so weird dragging on TikTok. It's a hell of a time. All right. So then he goes on to say this. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask at any point, because I know it probably gets a little bit confusing.
Just like y'all want to know the tea about that sacrifice and the candles burning. Anyway, everyone drop a heart me. Y'all want the memory lane, bitch? That was 16 years ago. I've never drank. I remember everything like yesterday.
Alright, hold on.
Y'all want to start me up again, harassing me all fucking morning for some shit that don't concern y'all?
That part.
Oh, baby, she lit them candles and said bye.
Come on, 80,000 likes.
That was my real best friend of over a decade. Like, I really loved her to death.
So you heard him there. He said she lit them candles and said bye. That was my real best friend. They were really close. They really were.
People don't realize that. They don't.
No, that was a real friendship. There was nothing complicated about it. It was real. Like, real.
Yeah.
It's all good. I read her caption, y'all. She lied on my name again. That's nothing new. It's been happening for decades.
So,
I know. Rich Lux literally is a jump scare. Whenever I see him come up, I'm like, ooh.
It didn't even make sense, honestly. If someone wants to clip me, her caption about me didn't make any sense. It wasn't witty. There was nothing truthful about it. It didn't add up to anything of the story. I'm like, I was there. Oh, I was on my book tour. So Google her book tour. Who was there at every date? Did y'all clock that tea? Who was there on all the book tours?
Him.
And
so when she's saying that she wasn't even there when the house burned down, Jeffree's saying, well, I was there for the book tours, so bitch, I know.
Any autographs next to her on her own fucking book tour without a book? That part. Google it. It's all there. It's all public. It all happened. I was there.
That is true.
She wasn't on tour. Next. But the lie is always going to be more entertaining than the truth is what I've learned from 10 fake cancellations. So
there you go. Jeffree Star had a lot.
So that's the general gist of what he said there. He's definitely gone on to say too that she's got like a dark side to her and that there's more than we know. So a little bit interesting. So he goes on, Tiva goes on to say that he did not receive a cease and desist. So this is what where he talks about his video got taken down. It's back up now, which we'll talk about, but here, let's get into this. Oh, wrong one. My bad. Me being blind.
No, it didn't get a cease and desist letter, at least not yet. That's not why the video was removed. I removed it last night at 1 a.m. because I was having crippling anxiety.
Oh yeah, T-Bree said he accused her of blood sacrificing. That's crazy. He's accused her of that for years. Remember when I said that he accused her of being a blood-sucking vampire? I wasn't joking. That's like a direct quote from him from a couple years ago. He has always talked about like weird people from his past having Illuminati ties, and Kat Von D has been the #1 person he's accused of.
And shortness of breath, which I'm still having. I've realized that sharing the story about the house and the fire and the person who, it happened with brought up childhood trauma that I wasn't ready for, and it scared me. I spoke briefly to Jeffree Star about possibly talking in private. The truth is, I'm not so sure that I even want to do that yet, because what he may know, I don't know if I want to know about the situation.
What do you mean? Why did you bring what? I can't stand people. They're like, yeah, I brought this situation to the internet. Now I want to back out. Now I feel like I fucked up. What the fucking, why'd you tell us? Should've just left it to yourself. God damn.
And I can tell you, anybody who watches this video, there's a lot more than meets the eye. There are pieces of information and things that happened that you're not going to find on the internet. You're not going to find
shit, my
in
bad,
courts
Jill.
or in court cases. There's a lot, and there are reasons why this person's energy makes me nervous, and why I was really nervous to even tell the story, and there's a reason why my mom was apprehensive to release the book. That said, I spoke to dear people in my corner, and they all said, you gotta face your fears. So I'll put the video back up today, and then I'm not gonna talk about the subject anymore for a while, because I truly started this account just to build around the house that my mom left for me, and to
Yeah, so basically his entire account has been about him redoing this house. Oh, not you guys seeing the video I used for my little sounds in the beginning. Here, let me go ahead and skip to the next one. So this one is really not about the actual video itself. He writes a lot in the caption though. Here, let me fucking pull this up. It's a long ass caption, get ready. And it's kind of hard to read because it's over fucking TikTok where he uses like white in the background, which is stupid and silly to me. So let me fucking try to get it to a point where it's the easiest to read. I think here. Okay. So he said, I watched Kat Von D's response, and I'll start by saying this. If every fire investigator determined it was an electric fire, why on earth would the insurance companies just decide to compensate us? I have no reason to lie, none. I didn't get $1 from sharing the video talking about KVD starting the fire in my mom's house, as she implied. And what I have gotten is an abundance of beautiful light and support. Thank you. As I said, my mom was writing a book because she wanted the story to be told. It was more traumatic for her than you can even imagine. Why didn't I tell the story? Because I was 14 when it happened. Why did I do this now? Because it would be entirely honest. I have at least a few thousand followers who care about the home and my journey with it. Well, this is unfortunately a part of that. I just got off the phone with my dad to double check that I didn't get any misinformation. We have 7 documents from fire investigators determining it was a fire caused by candles. Oh wait, let me show this to you guys as well. We have court records, fire investigator documents, and so forth. I only told this story to release the trauma, and I did just that. I will not justify justify inheriting a home and aspiring to build a business around it. For me, it is a deeply personal way to honor my mom, and if I am able to build a career while my mom's story is at the forefront, I will have more gratitude than meets. I'm very transparent about exactly what I'm doing, working towards, and how I plan to get there. Fault me for that if you'd like. Clarifying my family's fire, evidence, truth, and tribute. I watched Kat Von D's video, and I want to clarify why I shared our family's story. What the fuck? Why is it repeat? Oh, it's an AI-generated summary. Silly. Why is there an AI-generated summary after the fucking summary? That's so silly. I fucking hate AI. That's so stupid and silly. Had me looking like an idiot about to read the same thing. Now, this is his TikTok where he shows the receipts that I was telling you guys. Wah! My mic almost fell down. I don't know why. My mic is like tippy-toppy. It's like the stand I have it on is like getting a little loose, like the screw on it. So it's like ready to fall over at the wrong fucking turn. My bad. I've definitely tapped my mic so many times today. It's probably pissing you guys off. So I'm so sorry. All right. So let's check out the receipts video.
I watched Kat Von D's video. I have email receipts and a lot more. But first, I'm going to play a clip of her gaslighting my family's lived experience.
Also, thank you, 666 Meg, for the #1 dad for 350 jewels. I am her father.
Then I'll respond.
Unique house. It was Frankenstein's castle from the 1930s movie. It also had a basement that was turned into a recording studio. This is where I believe the fire started.
Kat Von D, the comment shows here, somebody named Vivi says, I never understood why people also, I didn't even realize all my TikToks are just on the side here. That's really embarrassing. It says, I never understood why people don't hire licensed professionals to upkeep their rentals, but he did not know there are fire reports, just like police reports to prove how the fire started. Kat Von D responds, the fire was deemed inconclusive, but the arson investigator told us that it was evident that it started in the basement, which is the photo that Teva posted, where majority of the damage was, where there were absolutely no candles, and where the electricity panel was.
I do believe it was
Also, 666 Meg sent a makeup brush for 6 jewels.
an electrical fire, and the arson specialist, the official arson like fire guys that came over to inspect everything, literally told us that it was not a candle fire. That this was most likely started in the basement in that old recording studio from.
Because he's just gonna replay her part
Passing.
for a little bit.
So I have everything. Correspondence between
the wires or from the panel.
The thing is, Kat was not expecting my mom to have set me up with her own email login right before her passing. So I have everything. Correspondence between attorneys, insurance demands, preparations for court if it came to that, and most importantly, the fire reports. Let's start with the first candle fire that Kat Von D had in the house, which she also tried to conceal.
The first fire. It says, hi, Deborah. Thanks for the email and the info. I'm addressing all your concerns in the below email in red. Let me know if there's anything else. Thanks.
I'm going to read from my laptop, but I will put the screenshot on the screen.
Okay, so it says, finally, please notify us immediately should anything like this happen in the future. Kat wrote, I clearly understood you when I first moved in about the smoking rule, and I respect your request. There's no smoking in the house. I called the fire department after a candle set off the smoke alarm. Nothing was damaged other than one of my candle holders. I was not out of town. I was in Calabasas running errands. Upon my return, it was apparent that someone had moved the table, that the candle had been on outside. My boyfriend was kind enough to inquire what had happened with one of the neighbors that happened to be outside. I'm not sure who called the fire department. We have an alarm system set up to call me directly whenever something like this happens. And since the neighbor called, nobody notified me. Since then, I have removed a majority of the candles from my house and thrown them away and replaced them with battery-operated flameless candles.
As well. She goes on to say that it wasn't a very big deal and she's respecting my mom's no smoking rules. The neighbors called the fire department after a candle set off the smoke alarm, claiming there wasn't a real fire. It was no big deal. Well, there's an incident report for that too. She finishes the note by saying, since then I have removed a majority of the candles from my house and thrown them away. Have replaced them with battery-operated flameless candles. Well, now I'm going to show you correspondence between my mom and one of her attorneys at the time. It will explain both fire incidents, and this is what really happened.
All right, so what it says here, the first fire caused by... Ooh.
I have no idea because I can't tell you the last time I had spaghetti. Zay Bebe, I had to get caught up with Love Island VC. I missed Sunday's episode, so in one day off. Can't wait to watch with y'all. XOXO Gossip Girl.
Girl, I cannot wait, because you, bitch, this shit going on with the whole Casa shit. I don't know what they're gonna do with Alana. We got so much to discuss. Also, thank you, Moon Kitten, for the floating heart for 10 jewels. Much appreciated, but Love Island is so fucking weird this season. It's actually nuts. Okay, so it says the first fire caused by Drakenberg. Drakenberg lived in the property, which is Kat Von D's real last name, without incident until July 9, 2010, when the Los Angeles Fire Department responded to reports of fire at the property. An incident report was prepared by the LAFD, which is the Los Angeles Fire Department, which identified a candle as the heat source for the fire. Although Drakenberg has taken position that there was no fire, just smoke. Notably, after the July 2010 fire, Drakenberg advised Dressbox partner Zach Barnier that she would switch to the battery-operated candles to avoid another fire, which everybody knows she did not do. I do not know if you want to mention it here, but also just to remind you, Kat told me herself in an email that she had also left a candle burning that caused the first fire. The second fire caused by Drakenberg. Just 4 months after the July 10th fire, Drakenberg caused yet another fire at the property, this time resulting in significant widespread property damage. To assist the mediator and parties at mediation, plaintiff has taken a number of photographs of the damage to the structure of the property and the areas that will necessarily need to be restored as a result of their repair work. The photographs are organized so that they track the entries and spreadsheets prepared by Charles Swenson. Swenson starts with an analysis of cellar repairs, and the plaintiff's photographs start with images of the cellar's damage.
Well, now that you know that there wasn't one fire at the home, but two fires at the home, one of which resulted in serious destruction throughout the home, I am going to show you an official fire report from an investigator.
All right, so what the official fire report states: the fire was determined to have originated in the living room's east wall, direct vicinity of the fireplace mantle. The fire originated atop the mantle and dropped to the floor below, causing ignition of the wood floor, subsequently burning throughout the floor into the subfloor. The fire's cause was determined to have been contributed to an unattended candle. Scene examination revealed the extensive careless use of candles throughout the residence, creating a hazardous condition. Although the fire scene had been heavily disrupted prior to my arrival, the fire's causation was able to be identified by the scene's examination, forensic examination, interviews, and photographic documentation subsequent and prior to the occurrence of the fire. No ignition sources other than candles were ever identified within the fire's area of origin. Fire scene findings eliminated a malfunction of the structure's electric or natural gas systems as having contributed any way to this fire's loss. Risk. The risk is a tenant-occupied single-family residential dwelling located within the city limits of Los Angeles, California, and the type of construction, the loss of structure, was found to have been constructed of wood framing and stucco exterior. The structure is built upon a raised wooden subfloor foundation and is covered.
I left the case number in the report as well as the investigator's name. There were multiple investigators, both sent from the insurance companies as well as private, forensic, arson. They all had the same findings. Kat Von D goes on to make my mom out to sound as though she was a petty landlord, and she makes me sound like I'm a money-hungry son who's looking to make money off of this situation.
Yeah, that is kind of what she sounds like. I mean, to be fair, until he started showing a lot of these receipts, people were a little bit confused, and I think now that he's shown that, more people are on his side with this. Obviously, this situation is very old, so it's hard to almost hold her accountable for this later on, but at least he's finally getting his mom's story out there.
I'm not making $1 off of this, but what I am doing is facing my childhood fears and facing my mom's fears. Kat Von D, I will never be able to prove what you were doing behind the walls of my childhood home, but what I do know is that you claim to be a Christian. It does not seem like a very faithful thing to tell a lie about a situation that you played a very large role.
I hate when people say that. It does not seem like a very faithful thing to do this. Don't tell people how to, align with their religion. To be real, I hate when people bring religion into it and they're like, you're not a Christian because you don't do X, Y, and Z. People can take what they want from whatever religion and apply it to their life how it sees fit. But, if you claim yourself to be, a devout, Muslim, for example, and you don't follow Muslim practices, that kind of makes more sense why other Muslims would then call you out. But, something like Christianity that has kind of always been, Christianity's got a bunch of denominations. You can like take what you want from it. I feel like it is kind of one of those religions, you know? There is religions that are more strict, but I feel like Christianity is not one of them.
And gaslight the family and speak false things about a situation that involved a woman who is no longer here to defend herself. That woman is my mom, and I am clearing her name on the internet right now. I spoke a lot about energy, and the truth is there are things that happened that I will not go into detail on because they're not very easily believable, and they are the sorts of things that inspire movies. You know those movies that say based on true events, and you're like, oh, that's a bit unnerving? Well, yeah. Recently found
That's kind of like what Jeffree was saying. I mean, he's claimed the woman literally does drink blood, so.
that the Kat Von D is a music artist. If you didn't know that, it's okay, I didn't either.
Yeah,
I wanted to check out
honest.
some of her music, and the names of her songs were enough for me. Will not be listening.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny because it was like Vampire Love. Wait, what were the other ones?
I know that people can change, but it doesn't take too much of a
Wait, let me back, bro. Let me go back.
for me. Will not.
Here are the song names because they're not that crazy. It's Exorcism is number 1, Vampire Love being number 2, Protected, Illusion, Set Myself on Fire, I Am a Machine, Fear You, Truth in Reverse. Like, these are just like edgy goth names. It's not that crazy. That was a reach.
Be listening. I know that people can change, but it doesn't take too much of a Google search to find out what she was openly up to during that time period.
True.
And I'm not entirely sure that I would believe a Christian who is not truthful about past.
Look, I will say it is a little interesting how heavily she leaned into the Christianity aspect. I wonder why. Now, Kat Von D does have a final response video, which we will check out, which comes right after that one. Here, and then there's like 2 other things. But there is like a podcast that does break down a lot of the lies and whatnot, but because we're already running over so long, I think we'll just do this, and then we'll do his response, and then that's where we'll call it for today, just because this is already ending up being a much longer episode than I expected it to be. I've just had so many tech issues today. It's been crazy.
Family, and I've had a productive meeting with my lawyers. But after talking with them, this will definitely be the last video that I make regarding this subject. But before my legal team takes it from here, I want to leave you guys with this important information. Teva showed you guys the documents from the investigation that was hired by his mom, most likely through her insurance company. And those reports said that the fire was started with candle negligence. But I'm going to actually show you the official statement from the actual Los Angeles Fire Marshal.
Okay, so what this says here. It says owner's name, Deborah Drasbach, occupant's name, Catherine B. Drockenberg, type of incident, building fire, property use, 1 or 2 family dwelling, common room, den, family, room, lying, room, lounge, whatever. Floor origin, 1. Heat source, undetermined. Cause of ignition, cause under investigation. Item first ignited, undetermined. Material first ignited, sawn wood, including all finished lumber. Property loss, $50,000. Estimated content loss, $25,000. Information contained in this report is intended for the sole use of the Los Angeles Fire Department. Estimations and evaluations made herein represent most likely and most probable cause and effect.
As you can see, it does not say that the cause of the fire was candle negligence. It says that it is undetermined. It's what I've been saying from the very beginning. And just so you guys know, sometimes when there's excessive fire damage like this, having an inconclusive outcome is not out of the normal. The other point that he brought up was the lawsuit. You know, I see so many people saying, well, Kat, you know, he won the lawsuit, so it must mean that he's right. Actually, no, he didn't win the lawsuit. There was no lawsuit in front of a judge and jury. We actually arbitrated outside of a court. At that point, my lawyers strongly suggested that I settle, which would have not kept us tied up in the court system for years.
Yeah, this does happen a lot of times when the person has a lot of money. Their lawyers will literally just recommend them to settle, even if they're not guilty, just so that they don't have to keep paying for the legal fees years and years. Like, sometimes it literally is just cheaper to settle than to pay for the legal fees. Because if he wins at the end of it, she'll have to pay for his legal fees as well.
I wouldn't have spent so much money in lawyer fees and just drag something on that didn't need to drag on. So I settled, and I had my insurance pay her out. And for those of you that don't know, settling out of court is not an admittance to guilt. It just means that we sat down, we did the math, and it wasn't financially making sense to make this drag on for years and years and years.
I didn't even know she said that.
As far as where I was when this fire happened, I was on my very well-documented book tour. I had a signing in Rancho Cucamonga, and then right after, I was en route to Vancouver, Canada. So I'm not sure how a candle could physically light itself without me being there. The photo that Teva posted of me standing in the aftermath of the fire was taken.
Although we do have Jeffree saying that that's not true. He was with her during the whole book tour and she was back during that time. So just to say.
After I had found out about the fire and had to return back. Okay, hate mail. Teva says that I sent his sick mother a ton of hate mail. He also says that he has logins and all the passwords to his mother's email account, so why hasn't he posted the emails of all the hate mail? Because there is none. I did post all the emails that we had during the 3 years that I lived at that house, and none of them were hateful. Okay, last thing, his mother's cancer. Okay, I cannot be held responsible for his mother's cancer progression.
Yeah, no.
She was diagnosed prior to the fire even happening in 2010 and didn't pass away until 2025. So I'm really not sure how I could be held responsible for someone's cancer progression for 15 years. I know everyone grieves differently when they've lost somebody that they love, and I genuinely, sincerely pray that Teva and his whole entire family are able to somehow find peace one day. And look, I don't think Teva is lying. I think he's just operating with whatever information that he has, and I think he's also operating emotionally from a place of resentment and wanting to blame somebody.
Yeah, I do want to read what T. Bree said because this is important to note. So hers is the unofficial report. His is the official report. And in the clip that I'm not playing, it kind of breaks down the difference between the receipts that they show. I will link you guys the video in case you want to check it out for yourself, but I could just kind of give you a rundown. They basically proved in this podcast that his receipts ended up being more legitimate than hers were, and they go down why. The timestamp starts at 1:53:57 for any of you guys who do want to check this out after the fact, but I just want to make sure that you do have... Why the fuck is it doing that? Hold up. What the frick? What the flip? I want to make sure it copies the right link for you guys. Hold on. But yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. This is from the Do We Know Them podcast, and it starts at 1:53:57. Wait, what the fuck? It keeps copying the wrong link. What the frick is happening here? Copy. Paste. And it's still the fucking wrong link. I'm gonna crash out. Why does it keep copying a TikTok link and not sending the one I'm asking for? Copy. Here, let me try sharing. Copy that way. Link copy to clipboard. Better be, or else I will crash out. There we go. All right, that's the podcast you guys can check out if you want to see them go through the breakdown between the difference in the evidence. We just won't have time for that today, but we did get through the general gist of what she had to say in hers. So let's check out his final response on this, and then we're going to be finishing out for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
I just bumped my head. I wasn't going to respond, but after giving it some thought, I've decided I probably should. So I'll keep it short and I'll keep it final. Here are my thoughts. She tried to use her platform to maybe silence me, get a last word in, I don't know. She mentioned legal repercussions, she turned off her comments, and she showed a preliminary fire report, which, if you don't know, a preliminary fire report is a report that happens before actual investigations are concluded. Not to mention, her fire report counters what she said in the first video of the origin point. Her story.
So that gives you kind of an idea of what, like, T. Bree was explaining there. So her report comes before the official report. Hers was, like, the predetermined, or, like, the preemptive report that came, like, before they had actually determined what was going on. He's saying he showed the official report after the fact, which is what they talk about in their podcast.
Is too complicated for me to follow. It requires rocket science, and I'm not a qualified rocket scientist. For those of you who are willing to go to bat for a celebrity that doesn't know of your existence, is it really that much of a stretch to believe that I was scared for a long time? The inside of my childhood home burned. The person who did it denied it. My mother was scared. There were things, like I said, that I'm not going to get into. There were trinkets left around the home that scared me to my core and still to this day make me uneasy. Not to mention, the person responsible was openly practicing witchcraft at the time. I want to talk about...
I feel like people... I don't know, we're quick to be like that with, like, goth stuff. I don't know. I feel like if my haunted mirror, like, if I die one day and, like, nobody inherited my haunted mirror that's not actually haunted, they'll probably think it's a haunted mirror because it just looks really spooky. But I like spooky looking things. Oftentimes my boyfriend says that he thinks that I want to live in a Halloween house, which I don't doubt. I probably would. But, like, I don't know. I think judging somebody based off of their like for the weird and macabre is not necessarily cool. Like, some people are just different. I almost went to mortuary school. It's something I talked about. Like, it's just something that, like, I'm not somebody who's, like, heavily affected by the dead in a grief-stricken way that a lot of people are. So, like, I find, like, taxidermy cool. I feel like I'm being judged by this guy. So I'm just like defending Kat Von D like crazy because he's judging me.
Why I started this account with the house. It is because this home was my mom's art, and it's the final piece of her art that I have. For me to share my mom's art with the world, say an A24 project, or maybe like a high-end fashion campaign, it would make me so proud, and I know it would make my mom so proud. The other day, I had a meeting with a really cool company, and I got to tell them all about my mom, the house, how it came to be. We may work together. That is why. Hey guys. Oh.
All right. Well, you got the general gist of everything. Really, seriously, though, if you want a little bit more of a deep dive on the timeline of everything, go check out the Do We Know Them podcast. They did a great coverage of this situation, and I would hit a lot of the clips from that if we had more time today and my tech wasn't all being funky wonky in the beginning and then me losing my OBS. I had so many tech issues today, so I apologize. So I'm glad I was able to at least run over an extra almost 40 minutes for you guys. Because definitely deserved with everything going on. But how are you guys feeling about the topic for today? Are you guys interested in like old YouTube that's kind of coming back into like relevant spaces like TikTok? Are you guys excited for the emo iceberg we have coming up? Let me know how you're feeling about everything. And also definitely leave comments every now and then, periodically, to like let me know, hey, this has been my favorite video that you put out this week, or like, hey, this has been the best stream I've seen you do this week. I really love this topic, because I'd love to know like what has been interesting you guys the most of what I've been covering. Even if there's something you didn't like me covering, I'd love to know that. Like if you thought this topic was boring as shit and you're like, yeah, I'm never gonna tune into something if you cover like Kat Von D and Jeffree again, or something with the makeup influencers again, leave a comment, let me know that too. Be like, yeah, this is something that's not my cup of tea and I wouldn't hit it again.
I have no idea because I can't tell you the last time I had spaghetti.
Word to your mama, H.
Word to your mama, ho. Get clopped, bitch. Yo, I haven't heard word to your mama, ho in so long. That's so funny. V Midnight said, I feel like the cults one was so informative and I learned a lot from that one. That's cool. The one thing I did like about doing the cults video, or like I guess stream, is because it had like longevity for later. Like people who are interested in checking out my channel are more likely to tune into something like the cults video, I'd say, than like drama for something that's like only relevant for like a certain period of time. But yeah. Boycotting until the ice part 2. You really like that one, huh, Logie? I can definitely catch you guys up on that. Even if I don't do like a full thumbnail on it again, I can keep updated with it with you guys. But yeah, let me know everything that you guys have been enjoying, not enjoying. Let me know if you have any requests for some videos that you want to see me do later. I will get doing, by the way, that Omegle members only video. I did not forget about it. I just ended up having to run a ton of fucking errands this weekend. For those of you guys who were ever crowned over on Glass, I was able to get the keychains like done, made up. I got one of them shipped out this morning, and then I went to get the other ones shipped out. But they were like gonna charge me $16 to mail each one unless I had this very specific type of fucking packaging. So now I gotta go to another post office today because they didn't. So I'm like, okay, I'll just switch them all to the specific type of packaging, right? So I don't have to pay $16 to mail each one, like, because that's a little bit crazy. Like, under $10 for each one should be like pretty reasonable, but like 16 per package is a little crazy just to like mail a keychain, right? And I will say there's a little bit of goodies in the package as well. It's not just a keychain. I sent some other stuff with you guys as well. But so I was like, all right, well, I'll just go to I'll go to the front and ask them for the packaging I need, because I just needed like those priority envelopes or whatever, but they didn't have any in the thing that was right there. And I go ask at the front and they're like, yeah, we haven't had priority envelopes in like 2 weeks. Well, bitch! I need one! So there's like 3 other post offices in my area, so I'm gonna try driving around to all of those today, because you can go in even if they're closed and at least see if they have them in the little containers. And then if they don't, I'll go tomorrow when they're open and ask them for them. And then if not, I can order them online, but then it'll take a few more days to come in. So keychains will be getting shipped out as soon as I can get these goddamn fucking envelopes that I need. They're fucking with me at the post office, man. Sammy said so, said the post office is a scam. Honestly, real. Yeah, it is ridiculous. Like, I'm like, how do you, because it's those priority flat rate envelopes that I need. And usually they just have them right up at the front. But the one specific post office I went to said they haven't had them in 2 weeks. How do you not have priority envelopes? They have all the boxes, all the priority boxes. None of the envelopes. I would put it in the big envelope at this point. I don't care if it's a small or a big envelope. I don't give a fuck. I'll put it in any envelope. Give me an envelope, bitch. Like, anyways, so that's where I'm at. On the hunt for an envelope. Priority rate envelope, specifically. Big Porky said they looked at Zay and said, you don't know. You look like you don't know post. That's so real, bro. That's so real. Because I only ever mail Depop packages. You could fucking mail Depop packages in a fucking Ziploc bag if you want. As long as it got a label, they'll take that shit. The post office is second to the DMV in suckness level, so I will get it sorted out. But I did get Zacky's in the mail successfully because Zacky's needed to be mailed through UPS. Which was it was UPS, fantastic. Love UPS. They were easy as fuck with it. Cost a little bit more to mail it that way, but they were cool with it. So worst case scenario, if none of everything works, I'll get everything mailed through UPS. Logie, I did post evidence that they were made. I posted it in the Discord, and I'm pretty sure I added you in it. Like, I still have them now because I didn't get to here, I'll show you. Hold up. While you're here, let me just grab my purse because they're in my purse. Ugh. I can show you guys my new purse too while we're at it. Here's my new purse. I love it. It's really pretty. It's a birthday present. Okay. This one, Debs is sealed, so I can't show you Debs. Because Debs is going to be the first one I mailed out, actually. This one is Amanda's. A little murder panda for Amanda. As you guys can see, it's on a keychain. Next up, there is... Oh, wait, I missed one. Is this Logie's? No, that was the one I just did. That was Amanda. Who's this one? This is Novice. It's Little Snake. And like I said, Zach's already got mailed out, so I won't be able to, show you guys that one, unfortunately. Zach's was cool. It was like a little cat. Two little black cats with a wine glass. Where the hell? There's a keychain in here, but I'm like, where is it? This one is Rivers. She got like a stack of books. And then this last one should be Logie's, if I'm correct. Yeah, it is. So Logie actually has 2 keychains because the first time I tried to make this keychain, it wouldn't let me put all of what he wanted on one keychain. So I just made it 2 keychains, which is also fine because Logie's been hell of a supporter for a long time. So it's the evolutions of, I don't remember the name of, is it Haunter Evolutions, Gengar Evolutions? What the name of the other one? I can't remember, but Pokemon Evolutions. There you go. Keychains. Yay. Okay, so yeah, that's everybody's keychain. Ghastly, thank you. I was like, what the fuck is the name of that motherfucker? So, yeah, that's everybody's keychains. I might eventually, now that I've finished all of those, make a bigger tier over here of membership that'll do keychains again, but I'll see how I'm feeling about that once these are all mailed out and ready to go. Once these are mailed out, then I'll consider that, but until then, these keychains are one of ones. But, alright. Oh, the drama network said the post office is overpriced. It wouldn't have been that bad if I had the right fucking packaging, but... Alright, y'all. I'm gonna get you sending off, I think, over to Exile if he's streaming. I actually don't know because I fucking ran over so long today. I don't even know who's live right now. No Exile today, but it looks like Nightmare is live. So I guess I'll send you guys over to Nightmare. Go check out his stream, and I'll see you guys back again tomorrow. Oh shit, let me figure out how to end this. Because OBS is acting all weird again. If it doesn't end